Welcome to Charting Crypto's Currencies and Commodities. Let's jump into these charts. Going to start off on the 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart. On the weekly chart, let's go ahead and expand our weekly chart so we can see the whole thing on the screen. What's going on with Bitcoin? Well, you can see where it hit its most recent high back on the week beginning the 19th of June. That high was 31,458. You see it right over here. Of course, it lines up with what candle you're on, but as I go to that candle, you can see 31,458 and 31,500. So it did hit a little bit higher. I guess it's hard to see. 31,500 is higher than 31,458. So it did hit a little higher last week and then dropped back over this week. Smaller candle this week. You can see where the volume is right now. Now, again, last week was a short week, but as we see where Bitcoin is, it's not pushing up relatively higher. Don't have increasing size of candles. Things are slowing down. So we'll continue to keep an eye on Bitcoin. We don't like to see this. This is not good where you have it spike up and then, okay, clear it by a couple of bucks. All right, a few bucks. $42 higher for a $31,500 something coin. Again, that's not much climbing higher, which doesn't bode well, again, for being able to jump in and expect to ride something. So again, we want to see this chart corresponding with nice clean ups and downs. Even on this one, you see where it spiked. It did go somewhat higher, but then, of course, didn't help you out with any clean jumping off point or anything else. In fact, it moved lower than the jumping in point. So that's before you really got a signal to get out. So that's not helpful. Again, we want Bitcoin to be something that is chartable. We look at where Ethereum is. Check this out. This week really falling off after 3 weeks of trying to move up. Again, lots of ranging that first week. Okay, the second week, third week, some down movement in there. And then this week just busting right through that trend line that we had just started to try to draw. Where are we on the Bitwise 10 Crypto Index Fund? Of course, we explain this to you every week. It's top 10 cryptocurrencies weighted as per market share, Bitcoin being the big dog. And again, we can see lots of ranging that first week where things turned around, moved up, and now just flat and sideways. So we will keep our eye on things, but again, not boding well that the crypto market straightened itself out. Is going to be something that we can track. I'd love for it to be that way. Let's move over to commodities. We've been talking about corn when it peaked and moving down, going into the third week of down movement in corn. And again, I'm asking you to think about how's this impacting the world. You hear about there being problems with food supplies. Well, corn, which feeds a lot of animals and people, going way down. And of course, the corn syrup is used in all sorts of colas, things that destroy your kidneys and give you diabetes. But nonetheless, people love it. Let's move on to the United States Gasoline Fund as gas continues to move up. We saw where it bottomed out back here in early May and then started moving up in earnest in late May. And then, of course, has had a little bit of a sideways slide for a couple of weeks, but again, started gearing up again last week, going up this week. If we pull this in, we can see how high we got, up to a high of 80.29. We're a ways away from that now, but again, don't like to see gas prices edging up, and they are doing that. We look at oil overall. You can see we're in the second week of up movement in the United States Oil Fund after it bottomed out. And again, volume didn't do all that much for you here because it continued to actually decline and then bottomed out without high volume and started moving up. Silver, you're seeing the same thing with gold. You hear me talk about that on the show every day, but look at silver. After cranking over for 2 weeks, slowing down last week, silver moving back up, but no gigantic volume pushing that up. Not like you saw here when silver tumbled not like you saw here when silver took off. And again, you saw silver where it peaked again right here. Again, both of those were on high volume, and the bottom high volume. Nothing like that here, which makes me just again wonder, why not let volume really guide you where you might be instead of just, hey, I'll just throw it in because it's turning green. Now, it may just keep going up, but I'm saying if you can put volume with the candle change, even better, my friends. That's where we are as far as the commodities we're going to look at this week. Now let's go to the currencies. Got a few of those for you. Check out what's going on with the euro. The euro, again, bottomed out in late May, right there at the end of May, then started turning around. You can see where, we had lots of volume there, and then started turning around and really ginning up, slowed down, and then popped up again this week. So interesting to watch. What about the British pound? Well, it went down for a couple of weeks, slid sideways, not much helping you there on the volume, then started taking off again and again. Nice movement this week. Let's look at the Japanese yen. After just pounding down for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, we did see super high volume here, high volume here, high volume here and here. Don't know what any of that means. Doesn't help us because it went on down past that. Then's turned around and turned into the green. Now again, you want to see how well these charts work. Then you want to zoom them in a little bit and take a look at, how has the green done for us in the past? Well, you can see that the Japanese yen has mostly been in down moves, right? The up moves have been very short-lived, but for this one back last November through this January, then down again, then up a little bit, then down again. So what can we expect here? I could go on a tear. I mean, it's done it in the past. If we crank things back far enough, we can find something like that all the way back in 2016 and 2018. But again, that is a ways back. So we'll go ahead and stretch our charts back out, move them somewhere where we can read them, stretch them out a little bit so we can see some of the price movement better, and keep going. Lastly, we'll look at the Swiss franc. Look at it taking off this week. Woo! Again, down movements, nice up movements here on the Swiss franc over the last year when we've seen those take place. And boy, this one was sweet. Now, one thing that was good is as it started to take off, you did have high volume and, of course, continued to move. You'd have been a little scared here if you jumped in anywhere near the high, and then it starts off and takes a while to go. But man, did it pay back in spades this week. So that is where we are on our cryptocurrencies, our commodities, and our currencies. Hope you enjoy this. Hope you use it to really get some ideas to what's going on in the real world, whether it's cryptocurrencies, other markets, their currencies, or commodities themselves, real things that people eat and use in business and industry. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters. Use this knowledge to empower yourself.